went down in that very moment. And this, of course, opens up the opportunities for there to be gremlins within the system. How has the G20 addressed that in trying to make sure something like this does not happen?
Sure.
Because it really opens up Pandora's box where we don't want to be going into.
Yeah. Look, there are risks with any evolving new technologies, and I think the risk of manipulative generative AI is one that concerns the world. I think the world was taken aback at the instant impact and disruption that DeepSeek had, for instance, right? And it requires that we put enough guardrails and safeguard measures in place to minimize risk. You're always gonna get nefarious elements that are testing, or how to manipulate gaps. The most important thing is to have a unified approach towards standardization and towards cross-border management of flow of information, and making sure that regulations are harmonized from a regional perspective, a continental perspective, and globally.
Minister Malatsi, we've seen the declaration being adopted by the G20 nations. Nobody thought this would have happened within probably the first 3 hours of today's G20 Leaders Summit. From a minister, your portfolio, your reaction to this declaration, which has been unanimously adopted by the G20 nations.
It's a great thing. Great things are happening in South Africa.
And do you think this will now allow for there to be global South economic inclusivity, because that is what President Ramaphosa has been touching on?
Look, I think that is a continuous mission to achieve that, not just in words but in actual deeds and deliverability. And I think, listen, it bodes well for the future of the G20 that this G20 presidency of the South Africa also got to the adoption of the declaration. It is what multilateralism is about, and it is a great thing, and I'm proud as a member of the South African government that during our presidency the ability to adopt a declaration was done, notwithstanding some of the headwinds that we have had to deal with.
Minister Solly Malatsi, absolute pleasure having you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
That's Minister Solly Malatsi, Minister of Communications, joining us here to discuss, of course, what his working group has been doing within the G20 presidency of South Africa. Do stay tuned. After the break, we'll have more for you at the G20 Leaders Summit.